What is up, YouTube? My name is Batman, and today I'm bringing you some epic domination gameplay on firing range. As you can see, I'm using the gold Spectre. I have extended mags and a grip attached, and today I want to talk about rushing tactics. Rushing in itself is an art form, and sometimes it can be very difficult to do well, so I'm just going to go over the strategies that I use to rush effectively. When I'm rushing, my main goal is to make myself as annoying as humanly possible to the enemy. I just want to frustrate them to the point that they are so busy trying to find and kill me that they completely forget about capping flags. So, how do you annoy the enemy? Well, at the start of any domination game, my first goal is to always get behind enemy lines. By doing this, I can quickly kill off any opponents whom are setting up in a position to camp the B flag. And trust me, there will always be someone trying to camp the B flag, such as the second ghost guy you saw me take out on my opening route. The other benefit to this tactic is that often, if you get to the enemy spawn fast enough, you can catch like a player off guard in an area where he wasn't really expecting you to be yet. This makes for a real easy kill. Great way to start off your games. More often than not, this will greatly frustrate said player, and it'll make him play real poorly for the rest of the match. Never forget the human aspect to this game. A player who is angry will always play worse than he would if he were clear-headed. Sometimes an unexpected death like that, it'll even cause the player to rage quit, and this will force his team to play a man down real early in the game when it's really important to have your full team trying to cap that middle B flag. Once I'm in enemy territory, I always make sure that I check the B flag. I know I'm not capping it, but with the strategy that I'm using, I've literally made it impossible for the enemy team to do it either, at least until they kill me. And so, a minute into the game, I've probably already pissed the bad guys off real bad, and I've successfully disrupted their entire offensive. The next goal is to keep the enemy disoriented and pushed back until my team grows some gonads and captures B. To do this, use guerrilla warfare tactics. For those of you who don't know, guerrilla warfare was a strategy that the Americans developed in the Revolutionary War. They would, pop out of some trees, kill a few lobster coats, or whatever the hell you call those things, and then run away back into the forest. So there's some history for you. Basically, you want to do the same thing here. Shoot an enemy and then retreat back behind cover. Always make sure when you are doing this that you do not get too comfortable in one specific spot. Otherwise, you will either be taken out by a grenade or completely bum rushed by 4 guys at once. The bad guys will always be looking for revenge kill, especially if you are in their spawn. You want this. You want them to come looking for you. You want them to try to kill you. You want them to be looking for that revenge kill. This is because it keeps them off the flags, but at the same time you have to remember it's dangerous. It's important to always stay moving and be quick on your feet. This is why I'm using Marathon and Lightweight. These two perks are always going to be the most effective when used in combination with this kind of playstyle. It's really what they were designed for. When you're rushing, you always want to be repping either the SMG or a shotgun. Which one you choose should really be related to, which map you're playing. On a map like this, on a map like Firing Range, the SMG is going to be more helpful because of the large abundance of long lines of sight. It's a real wide open map. However, when you're playing a map like, say, Summit, you're generally going to want to rock the shotgun because of all the door-to-door fighting. Many players use steady aim or sleight of hand with their SMG, but I don't think either of those perks is necessary for this type of gun. This is because the SMG already has a very quick aim down sights time and a very tight hipfire spread. Because of this, the use of the aforementioned perks will make little to no difference in your actual gameplay. Aforementioned. Wow, that was a doozy, huh? Personally, I feel that the best second tier perk to use when running your SMG is Warlord. I run grip on my SMGs almost religiously. This is because oftentimes you're going to run into a situation where you have to fight a longer distance, and minimized recoil is going to make a huge difference in how that gunfight turns out. However, because of my need to always run grip, I wouldn't have room for any other attachments unless I use Warlord. The Spectre's biggest drawback is its low clip size. Combined with its really high rate of fire, it's often going to, blow through an entire magazine for 1 or 2 kills. Extended mags counteracts this greatly. It's going to really help out in those situations where you run out of ammo. Without Warlord, I would have to choose between either struggling in my really long-range encounters or struggling in engagements with multiple enemies. And when you're playing behind enemy lines on a wide-open map like Firing Range, you're going to run into both of those situations a lot. And that's why I run Warlord, because steady aim and sleight of hand wouldn't help tremendously in any of the gunfights that take place during this game. Another important thing to constantly keep in your mind when rushing is the circumstances in which your gunfight is taking place. When rushing this way, you always want to make sure that you are meeting the enemy in an area where the SMG will have an advantage. Notice how throughout this entire game, I mostly stick to back alleys and buildings. I do my best to avoid the huge wide open spaces around the trailer, because in those areas my SMG puts me at a severe disadvantage. You'll notice towards the end here I find myself trapped in these wide open spaces, either because I walked there or because I spawned there. I'm stupid, I don't know. And immediately I take control of the trailer, because had I been outside, things would have gone really bad really fast. A good way to keep the gunfights on your terms is to run spy plane. Knowing the general area in which the enemy is spawning will always make planning your routes for attack and offensive and runaway routes. It'll always make those routes that much easier. However, when you are running a spy plane, do not rely on your minimap religiously. This is a big mistake that even the best of players make often. The best way to avoid it is to simply remind yourself every time you call in the spy plane that it is there for general direction and not exact location. You know, look at your minimap, see where the red dots are, and start making move towards them. But do not, just stare at your minimap and use it to walk towards them. Look back at your screen. By doing this, you will avoid the abundance of ghosties sitting in corners. Speaking of avoiding corners, another thing to be constantly aware of is claymores. Lightweight will very rarely allow you to run through a claymore untouched. In some cases, you may even feel more comfortable running flak jacket over lightweight. But if you're like me and you can't stand the thought of falling damage or overall just sluggishness, a good idea is to remember to check corners before sprinting through them. If you do this for every doorway and every corner, you'll probably get killed a lot more often than you would if you didn't. But a good way to do it is to just remember to do it in the really obvious spots, such as at the top of any stairs, because that's where campers love to set their claymores. And let me tell you guys, there is nothing more frustrating than being on like an 8-kill streak and then getting killed by some exploding box on the ground. That is the most frustrating, annoying feeling in the world. It has broken multiple controllers of mine. It's definitely broken an Xbox. It's broken about 3 discs and my grandma's nose. No, I'm just kidding about the nose thing. Or am I? Anyways, wrapping it up here. This was a nifty little 66-4 game. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I tried to make it entertaining, tried to make the commentary, intelligent and insightful, with lots of tips and tricks. Maybe you'll get a little better at the game. This is what I do. I freaking love you guys. This is Batman, signing out.
Our strength cannot be challenged. Good job.